Yo, what's good, guys? It's Nads here. I'm back yet again with another video. Today I decided I would be making a pull day video because, I mean, the natural next step to making a push day video is to make a pull day video, but you're never getting the leg day video. I wanted to record my pull day because I feel like a lot of people don't really understand, how to actually develop that demon back, the proper technique and the proper ways to engage your back. And I feel like I have a chance to, really help teach people this time around how to train their back. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is warm up, because the back, it can get kind of tight sometimes. So just start with a weight that you're, comfortable doing for a lot of reps. And that really gets the muscles warmed up in the area. Make sure you stretch as well. I didn't record my stretch, but make sure you stretch as well, because those muscles can really easily get hurt, especially on a pull day. I'm warming up with 12 reps of lat pull down. Now, the reason why I use lat pull down for my warm up is because it really helps me, I guess, fire up the mind-muscle connection before my actual sets. As you may know, you don't want to really pull with your arms. You want to pull with your back, and sometimes that requires you to, really have your brain in your back, so to speak. So this really helps me out with, establishing the mind-muscle connection at the start of the set. Now, lat pull-down, I found, is, one of the most commonly messed up movements, especially from beginners. And I can't really blame them, because it's such an intricate and complicated movement, even though it looks deceptively simple. My advice would be, just make sure you're always pulling in front of you. Make sure you're fully stretching at the top as well. And as I said before, I know it's not, easy to do, especially if you're a beginner, but you have to pull with your back first. You have to think with your back rather than thinking with your arms. It's easy to get your arms involved, but your arms should be engaged minimally in the movement. And one thing I always suggest people do is use the close grip attachment. Now, I'm using the wide grip because I'm a little bit more experienced, but the close grip is really going to help establish, your brain understanding where your lats are. It's really hard to describe, but that's just really how it is. And I do 2 sets of this to failure, and failure can be anywhere between 6 to 8 reps, sometimes less. Now we got 2 sets of chest supported rows. Make sure you're setting up the chest support, just at the middle part of your chest. I've always loved the rows, the chest supported rows, especially because there's really not many other muscles involved except for your lats and your back in general. And that can really help you isolate and understand, how to engage your lats. As I said, this is especially important for beginners. Once again, 2 sets of this to failure. When it comes to failure, just try to fail within a certain rep range. If you want to bang out some partials like I'm doing, go right ahead, because sometimes you have a little bit left in the tank and you just want to get that out. Now, one tip I'd give to people who want to engage their lats when they're doing chest supported rows is to imagine you're scraping your elbows or your hands against the floor. You want to be pulling it as low as you possibly can to engage your lats, because if you're pulling higher or envisioning it higher, you might be pulling with your arms or your upper back instead. But yeah, just imagine pulling as low as you possibly can. Next up, I do 2 sets of single arm pull downs for each side. I like doing more unilateral movements for my back, because sometimes when you're doing these like big pull movements where you're pulling with both your arms, you can, engage one half of your back more than the other half, and that can lead to imbalances. So getting a little, unilateral movements in can really help straighten out and, even out your back. Once again, make sure you're not pulling with your bicep. It's so easy to fall into that trap of just pulling with your bicep, but you really need to, get your head in your lat and just, pull with your back first. And that's how you're going to make a lot more significant gains with your back, because I mean, I've seen so many people pull with their arms first and their backs just they don't develop as well as someone who, focuses on the form, focuses on the mind-muscle connection more. And of course, this is to failure as well. Lastly, we got a bit of a placeholder movement. This is bent over barbell rows. Now, usually I would be doing high rows, but I mean, this gym doesn't really have it in it. With this, I am trying to prioritize my upper back more instead of my lower back, simply because your upper back does need to be trained, of course. Your back's not just your lats. And it can really help develop a larger looking back. Now, this is my second set, so I am reaching failure a little bit sooner. But yeah, just make sure if you're gonna do it like I do, make sure you're pulling with your upper back first, because that needs some love as well if you're going to copy exactly what I do. Next, we got shrugs. Now, this is also a bit of a placeholder only because if I was to do shrugs, I would be standing and I would be doing much heavier weight. This is only 50 pounds. And of course, I would be going to failure as well. Make sure you're going to failure on every set of your exercise. And yeah, the thing with the shrugs is it really helps round out your physique and make it look a lot more complete. I know a lot of people say they don't like doing shrugs because it makes their shoulders look smaller. My response to that is just get bigger shoulders. So yeah, just do some shrugs. Standing shrugs will do just fine, especially because it'll help develop your abs a little bit as well. Very, very essential movement for developing a nice raw look looking back. And yeah, you can do it seated. I just chose to do it seated because my ankle is currently injured and I didn't want to put too much pressure on it. You can do it seated, of course, but I think it's better to do it standing only because you want the extra ab engagement and you can probably lift more as well. Next up, we got rear delt flies. Now, the reason why I do these after the shrugs is because I want to exhaust my traps before I start doing these, because sometimes you can get your traps involved. With this, you really just want to isolate the back of your shoulder. Now, the back of your shoulder is very important because it really helps round out your shoulders and make them look, more three-dimensional. Of course, I do this to failure as well. And one tip I have for this is, if you're going to be doing this, make sure you try to explode on the way up and then slowly bring it back down. Now, the technique I'm using is from Jeff Nippard. He did suggest that people do this version of the rear delt fly. And to be honest, ever since I switched, I noticed a significant difference in my rear delt development. That's not to say that doing it, seated backwards is bad. It's just, I think this is more beneficial for unilateral development. You really get a good stretch with doing it this way because you can bring it all the way back to the front of your body. The failure, of course, as well. 3 sets of this. Yeah, for each arm. Lastly, we got bicep curls. Now, I know it's a bit taboo to finish a pull day with bicep curls. Now, I tend to do just 6 sets of biceps in general at the end of the pull day workout. And this can be any variety of curls. Now, what I noticed is incline curls just absolutely blow up my biceps, and I can certainly lift a lot more when I do them on incline, because I think it's because I'm not using my abs as much. And yeah, so I have been doing these a lot lately. And yeah, just make sure you're going to failure, of course, because your biceps are just like any other muscle. I don't care who tells you need to do some sort of high rep exercise. It's a normal muscle. Just go to failure. If it's earlier in your set, and who cares? Like, it doesn't make that big of a difference. So yeah, make sure you're not lifting with your shoulders. I mean, you're already trying to isolate your biceps by not using your abs on the incline curl. Curl outwards with your biceps, and yeah, use a weight that you can comfortably do for 6 to 8 reps. Maybe not comfortably, with a bit of difficulty, of course. Next up, we got hammer curls. Now, as I said, you can do any variety you want, so I chose to do 3 sets of incline curls. My 6 sets of biceps is divided into 3 sets of incline curls and 3 sets of incline hammer curls. Now, I actually do prefer to do these standing just because I feel more comfortable doing it that way. But hammer curls are very important in general for developing a 3-dimensional bicep. Now, we got the results of the pull day. This is my current physique. Now, I have been eating at a bit of a higher maintenance lately just to heal my injured ankle. I did tear a few tendons in my right ankle, so I'm just trying to pause on the cut for a little bit just to heal up a little bit. But yeah, in general, pull day, it can be complicated. But you just got to bring a bit of some energy to your pull days, because very demanding on your CNS, and it is very demanding compared to push days. But leg days, of course, are way more demanding. Yep, so here we got a lat spread. I'm still not the best at posing. I'm not the best at camera manipulation. I don't know how these guys do it, to be honest. I feel like an old man. These whippersnappers and their shadows and front lat spreads. But yeah, I love pull days. They're my second favorite day, because leg day sucks.